Hello, hello, and welcome to an edition of Wisdom Wednesday, where we are walking around downtown Nelson. Today we're going to be looking at Proverbs 24, as it is the 24th day of January 2024, and the focus of today's Wisdom Wednesday topic is going to be found at the end of Proverbs 24, where there is a collection of sayings written by wise individuals throughout the nation of Israel, and they are compiled into this thing called the 30 Sayings of the Wise. I apologize if the vehicle sound is picked up here, but we're making do with what we have and as we go. And so I will paraphrase the end of Proverbs 24 for you today as we talk about that and as we go through it and draw and extract the wisdom that we can from the book of Proverbs and apply it to our lives. So at the end of Proverbs 24, it talks about go and take care of your outside fields, and then once they are ready, build your house. A few verses down, the writer of Proverbs says, I walked around my community and I saw the disrepair of the walls, and I saw the thorns of the field that existed and were birthed in the vineyards of my neighbors. And he says, I looked at these things and I thought in my heart, and I observed something. And then he goes on to say, a little slumber and a little sleep and a little folding of the hands, and poverty will come on you like the thief in the night. I thought, that is such a wild thing, that a little slumber and a little folding of the hands and poverty is what this individual sees as the direction you go when we don't allow diligence to really lead us. And so back to that first verse that we find near the end of Proverbs 24, where it tells us to take care of our fields and then build our house. And the idea of today's topic as we go through it is simply this, that I believe Proverbs is reminding us that we are to maintain and steward well the things that are in our life. And if we can't maintain something well, then we shouldn't look at adding to our list just an awkward helicopter flying above while I film a video. Always cool. And so what we see here is that there is this moment where we are encouraged to maintain what we have before we try to have more. Go and take care of your fields. Go and take care and maintain and steward well and do well with the things you already have before you try to add more onto your plate. And in doing so, what you will find is that you will overwhelm yourself and won't be able to maintain anything at all. As the writer of Proverbs continues to speak, what we see is that his reminder is that in our maintenance, we need to be diligent of the things that we have. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that things go from order to chaos without maintenance. If you have a car, you know you need to maintain that car. If you have a relationship, you need to work to maintain that relationship. If you have a house, you need to work to maintain it. If you have animals, you need to work to ensure their health overall. And so Proverbs is reminding us that we have a responsibility to maintain these things that we have in our life. And when we are able to maintain them, then we can consider adding more onto our plate of what we can maintain. If you've ever had a garden or something you're trying to maintain and you neglect to maintain it for a little bit, after one day there might not be very many weeds that grow up in your garden. After a week you might have a few. After an entire season of lacking and not maintaining, your garden will be overrun by weeds. And what we see here that the author of Proverbs 24 writes is that it's in those moments where we become complacent in our maintenance that we wake up one day surprised that poverty has attacked us like a thief in the night, that all of a sudden our lives are overwhelmed. And it feels like, how did we get here? And this bewilderment of like, did this happen in one instance? And what we see is that no, it takes a duration of time for these things to happen. But what comes from it is that when we neglect to maintain and we become complacent, we fold our hands, we have a little sleep, we're like, it's good. I worked on that last week. I don't need to touch it again for the next 25 years of my life. That what happens is that we find ourselves dealing with disasters more regularly when we neglect to maintain the things that we have. And so today is a little bit of a shorter step through and walk through what Wisdom Wednesday normally is, as I hope that you'll take your time to consider what it is you're maintaining in your life and how you can maintain those things to the standard that God is calling us to be stewards of these things. And as you learn to maintain the things you have, that you would be wise in determining what else is for you to maintain. Knowing what is your responsibility and what is not. Knowing what your capabilities are and your capacity is and what it is not. So that as we maintain diligently, we will be able to see the things that are in our life in good order and good health. Relationships, possessions, our spiritual walk, the way in which we interact with other people and the world around us. Let us do so from a viewpoint of maintaining the things that we have. God bless. We will see you next week for another edition of Wisdom Wednesday, and hopefully the audio wasn't too bad in this video.